I'm your boy Stevie Jobber,
And it's your boy Dangerous Duke.
and welcome back to the Dangerous Jobbers podcast, putting wrestling over one podcast at a time.
So we are we are fresh off the heels of Royal Rumble 2023. The first Rumble Triple H has got to book, and I think we got a lot to say.
Um, a lot in a little bit. I have less to say than I would like, and more to say
Which,
than I would like. If you
if that
can,
makes sense.
if that makes sense, yeah. But I mean, shout out to Reckless. We had a little thing here to watch it all, and
Oh,
it was definitely a moment in time. So
should we just dive right into it?
let's just dive into it, man. But you know what? Before we do, for anybody listening for the first time, happy WrestleMania season,
Mm-hmm.
happy Super Bowl season,
Mm-hmm.
and Duke, tell them where they can find us.
Yes. Well, obviously, since Stevie said Super Bowl season, you can find us based out of Philly. But on the socials, you guys can find us at the Dangerous Jobbers Podcast on all podcasting platforms, be it Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, anywhere you can listen to a podcast, you can find us there. You can find us on Instagram at the Dangerous Jobbers Podcast and at Dangerous Jobber. Same thing for Twitter at Dangerous Jobber. And then don't forget, you could check out dangerousjobberswebsite.com. You can find us on TikTok, Facebook, all that good stuff. So make sure if you haven't linked in to any of those profiles, make sure you check them out.
All right, man. So let's just get right into it. We'll keep it short and sweet. Four topics.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go in order because I think they set it in order of importance, if you ask me.
Mm,
And they started strong with the men's Royal Rumble, which is
yeah.
shocking. I was shocked until I realized why they did it. So, do you give me your thoughts? How did the men's
Uh,
Royal Rumble feel to you? I know you and Arcade and everybody was on the lives.
yeah. So for me, the men's rumble this year was better than last year's.
Better than
Um,
last year.
was it over the top extravagantly better? No. But was it a good leap better than last year's? Yes. Um, and I'll say it for this. One, we actually got some surprise returns. Booker T, we got a legend. Granted, we only got one legend, well, two if you count Edge, but we got a Booker T return in Texas. He's a legend. We'll take it. Edge came back. We got a surprise in Logan. Now, a lot of people might say that's not a surprise, but just remember, 2, 3 months ago, the dude tore his ACL. To come back 3 months off of a torn ACL, that's pretty damn surprising if you ask me. You figure you tore it in what, October? I think he tore it November, December, January. So
It
three
wasn't that
months.
long ago. Yeah.
Yeah, most people to tear their ACL, they're out for 6 to 9 months. So to come back 3 months off a torn ACL, that's pretty impressive if you ask me.
Well, one
Um,
thing. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say, and then the order kind of surprised me. Like Sheamus and Gunther being sort of the Iron Men of the match.
Hmm.
I wouldn't have called that. And then we got some good spots with Logan and Ricochet.
Hmm.
Um, the Kofi spot scared the hell out of me. I'm starting to think he don't have it anymore when it comes to the Rumble saves. Remember when he went flying and he tried to land in the chair and he like flew out the chair and smacked
Kofi. Yeah.
Kofi when
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
tried to jump on the chair and then he smacked his head on the table. and then Dom coming out with Ray's mask. So there was some good moments. Again, it wasn't leaps and bounds better than last year's, but it was a good leap compared to last year's.
Um, Let me start Stephen A. Smith way. I have all the love in the world for Triple H. Um, if anybody asks me, that is my favorite wrestler of all time. He's often quoted by me as God's gift to wrestling. But this is garbage. I mean, oh man, this was
Really?
crazy. I totally understand why he gave it to us first, because as me and everybody else in the room started to realize, oh, this is trash. This is he's giving us the most basic rumble. Like it wasn't bad. It was for, and I said this in the room, for the casual viewer, this was a good rumble.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are somebody that watches these rumbles every year, if there's somebody that is not the casual viewer that can kind of tell the constant storylines that pop up in Royal Rumbles, this was one of the most predictable rumbles that I've ever watched. Booker T being the one and only surprise, no NXT call ups, no other legends. They basically ran pro, and it all added up to me halfway through that the reason they shoved the Cody promos down our throats was because they wanted us to have zero expectation for this Rumble because we all knew Cody was winning. And then they went
Mm-hmm.
a step further, not only giving it to us first, so we knew this wasn't going to be the best Rumble. They gave it to us first with the Cody promos, and then they took it a step further by having Cody come out number 30, so that we absolutely knew Cody was winning the entire night, which to me takes away from the impact Cody had when he came out,
Mm-hmm.
because the pop was not the pop that it should have been, because we all knew who it was going to be. There was
Yeah.
zero surprise left in it, which makes it even more so one of the most predictable rumbles I've ever watched. Because literally, as one person would come out, I could predict the next person. The only thing I didn't predict was Triple H's lack of storytelling, in that he left a giant hole in the rumble for me, which was Ray never came out. He was
Yeah.
never replaced, and he never came out.
Yeah.
And it ruins what I feel like would have been a pivotal moment for Ray versus Dominic at Mania.
Yeah. I think that
There
was
should have been a thread that night to take them to Mania. And yes, Dom eliminating Ray basically and taking his mask is amazing. Dom is a menace to society, and this gangster needs to be wiped off the streets.
mm-hmm.
Um, but Ray should have done something. Ray should have came out there with another mask, or there should have been a backstage thing. Like, there should have been somebody to replace Rey Mysterio at the least.
Mm-hmm.
Because normally when somebody's taken out every Rumble, somebody replaces them, or that person comes out later. So y'all just left a giant plot hole in the Rumble for me, which is not great as a like as a guy that kind of watches these
Mm-hmm.
religiously. So I know when stuff just is not, when somebody didn't go the extra mile.
Yeah.
I've watched so many of these. I'm very aware of when somebody didn't try to make it special at all. And I feel like that is the
Exactly.
case here. You got
Exactly.
one legend in Booker T, so that they could say they had a legend,
Mm-hmm.
like it was a requirement. And then they gave us the most basic rumble in it. Hunter, I can't
Well,
let you go. I can't let you go on that, Hunter. That was so predictable.
it was, but I will say it was always predictable for the last 3 weeks. We all knew it was going to be Cody. We knew Cody was going to win. And I think that's why he went first with that Rumble. Now, could he have done it differently to where, like, oh, maybe instead of making Cody come out at 30, maybe we can make Cody, I don't know, let's figure out another number of significance that we can kind of tie into it. It's 2022 when what was it, 2022 when Cody came back? Let's make Cody come out at 22. Let's make Cody come out at 23 since he's making his return from injury at 2023. There was any number of ways they could have did it to make it better. As far as the Ray thing, after learning about it, Ray actually got injured on SmackDown. But do I think they could have made that make a little more sense as to why Ray can't be in the Rumble? Yeah, you could have showed you could have showed Dom kind of beating his dad up backstage or something. And then the next number comes up and Dom's music hits, and then you just see Dom go, oh, gotta go, Pop, and then run out to the ring. You
Or
could have
you
did it
could have
like
had
that.
somebody replace him. We could have
You
did
could
your
have.
exact plan and still had somebody replace Ray.
I think it was just I don't want to say lazy writing, but it was a lazy
It
writing way
was
of doing it.
lazy. It
It
was
was a lazy
lazy.
writing way of doing it. But that's why I said this. That's why I said this Rumble was a good leap better than last year's, because last year's was just
No, that was horrendous.
because I that was horrendous. That was way more trash. And I watched it back before this year's Rumble just to make sure, like, all right, was I wrong or was this Rumble really trash? And that Rumble was dog shit. So this
Horrible.
Rumble was better than last year's. It
Yeah.
wasn't a whole leap and bound better, but it was a decent enough leap that it was better than last year's.
And they gave it to us first, I realized, because it was so predictable.
Yeah.
So it
So
wasn't no
they
big
really had no
surprises.
choice.
I totally understand from a booking. I agree with the order of the entire card from a booking standpoint of where the
Yeah.
quality was going to be at.
You could tell what was most important.
So, and I'll get to an overall statement later, but it just wasn't very impressive to me. But the right person won,
Yes.
and it's Cody versus Roman at Mania. We all knew it. We
Yeah.
expected it to be a little better. I would have preferred you just promote the Rumble and say nothing about Cody if
Mm-hmm.
you were going to have him come out 30 and win
Mm-hmm.
so that I could be surprised. But whatever. Cody versus Roman at Mania. It was really the only choice,
Mm-hmm.
at least for the men's Rumble winner that was going to be chosen. That
Sure.
was the only choice. It had to be Cody. So I guess moving on, we get into the Bray Wyatt Uncle Howdy shenanigans, and I want to lump it all in together because there's not much I really want to say on the first match or the second match, really. So we can kind of lump it all in together because it has the same underlying
Yeah. All right.
the Mountain Dew match and the Alexa Bliss versus Bianca Belair.
So I'm gonna start. I got to touch on the Bray Wyatt match. Now, you and me had a little bit of debate about this, and after thinking about it, I'm still sticking by to what I said partially. Now, this match sucked. There was no other way around it. The match sucked. I didn't like the match, but
Garbage.
but again, it was better than the previous trash that we've gotten from Bray Wyatt with the red spotlight and the dumbness. But you made a good point. Does me validating this trash to something else that was trash, does that make the trash any better? It doesn't. It was still trash, but it wasn't as trash as that spotlight match. Like, I'm still saying the match sucked, but I understand, like, it had a better look to it than the red spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
But the match itself was dog shit. There was no other way around. The match itself sucked.
Yeah, I'm gonna Stephen A this one too. Let me start with saying I think Bray is a fantastic mind. I think that this this was something that they could have saved. There could have been some way to redeem this. And I see what it could have been. I want to say that.
Mm-hmm.
I see where they could have taken this. That being said, I really wish you would have told me this was a money grab. I'd have felt so much better about this match if somebody would have took the pitch black off the name and just called it a Mountain Dew match, because this was just a money grab. It was
Did you not
win
know
for Bray.
Did you not know Mountain Dew Pitch Black is a thing?
I knew it was a thing. What I'm saying is, don't sell me a match where I think everything's going to be pitch black when I can literally see everything on the screen, because you've covered it all in neon Mountain Dew signs. There's nothing pitch black about it. You had a rave party in the ring. You could have told me it was going to be a money grab. You know why? Because it's the Royal Rumble. It's going to be on the TV either way. But don't sell me like this match is going to be a Bray Wyatt creation. No, it wasn't. It was a money grab. And
Yeah.
Bray said, I'm going to make the best of it by having glow in the dark face paint. That's what this is. Y'all
But you
had a
notice,
street fight with neon lights and black light. And Bray tried to salvage it with a good build and some face paint.
I was going to say, but you notice in the weeks prior, Bray never specifically said, I challenge you to a pitch black match. Bray just said they just challenged each other to a match and they both agreed. And then the next week, or I think it was like the next day or the next hour or whatever, they said it is official. Bray Wyatt will be challenging LA Knight in a Mountain Dew pitch black match. They never said what kind of match it was going to be. They just said, I challenge you to a match.
All right, so let's move on from that one. Explain to me how I'm supposed to feel about Bo Dallas missing his mark.
Oh my God, you saw that too.
Yeah, everyone saw that. Everyone saw that. Clearly missed his mark at the end of that match. And they just and the cameraman didn't save it at all.
No.
They did a replay of the same angle. It took them like 3 tries to get an angle where you couldn't tell he
see
missed
it.
him completely. And just horrible, man. And
High and to the right.
it makes the ending with all the extra figures so lackluster. You know what I mean? It's like,
you know, he missed
it's
him
like
so
somebody
bad.
asking you for $20 and then paying for something on their credit card. And then you just standing there like, oh, well, I wish I'd have just let you go. Yeah, I wish I just said no to this. I wish I wouldn't have invested my time if I knew that you were just gonna do this to me. You know what I mean? Like, geez, man. It's like somebody coming up to you and being like, man, I got this really great concept. And if you give me $10, I can slap you and make it worth your while. What? What?
Man.
What was this? Like, why did you drag me on? Why did you lead me on for 3 weeks?
You know, the miss was so bad when at the end of the jump, you can still see LA Knight, but you don't see Uncle Howdy. That's how you know how bad the miss was.
This was not what it should have been. This is not what it should have been.
Man,
And
you know
neither
what?
was the next match. But the only good thing about the next match is that they didn't lie to me.
Yeah.
This is all I'm saying. If you didn't lie to me, I'd have felt way better about the Mountain Dew match. Because I'd have been like, because you know what? We would have came on this pod and we said, yo, it's a money grab. We know it's a money grab. Bray's gonna win. We know Bray's gonna win. And this is just an easy way to get his first match out the way. And we wouldn't have had a problem with it.
Yep.
But you lied to me thinking we were gonna get an either amazing or
Skyrim
horrifically
match.
bad Bray Wyatt match. And this wasn't a Bray Wyatt match at all. This was a regular street fight that was covered in Mountain Dew ads.
Yes.
We didn't need this. Or you could have just told us. So the Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss match, I feel equally bad because they didn't give them time at all, and it just was not.
It was blah the whole way.
Yeah, it was black the whole way. And in the end, there was something with Uncle Howdy, which I knew was going to happen. This was very predictable, and I'm not mad at it because I knew it wasn't going to be that great.
But it was a different Uncle Howdy.
But if it was a different Uncle Howdy. But I mean, same time.
Bray hurt himself too bad on the first jump that they had to use a new Uncle Howdy. And I honestly thought for a second it was Cody because of the color of the hair.
But that one,
But that's spend too much time.
I'm not as mad about. So, how do you feel about Bianca versus Alexa? Because my stance is not bad because I knew it wasn't going to be that great, so it's fine.
Yeah, it was bleh for me. I mean, I had no expectations for this match. I didn't appreciate the build. I didn't really care for this match, and I didn't. But I had that feeling going into the match, so it was what it was for me.
What do you think this is going to lead to for Alexa?
I don't know. I think she's gonna try to mess around with the Wyatts again. I think that's what they because after this they really don't have anything else. So I'm not sure. I wish I could say there was a definitive track for her to go on, but I'm lost.
I hope
I
this
really
all
don't know.
culminates in the Wyatt Six. Hopefully, they're
That's really
right
the
about the
only thing.
Wyatt Six, and the Wyatt Six is just extended Bray Wyatt personalities
Well,
with the
I'm thinking that it
Bunny,
is
Uncle Howdy, the rest of the Funhouse, and Alexa.
because
And
I
it's
think
just like a whole Bray thing that's a little more like cult Bray, but not exactly. And then we can have regular stuff. Like let's just do regular
mhm,
stuff for a while.
yeah. Well, I'm thinking it's going to lead to the Wyatt six. I don't know if you've seen it, but when the pitch black match was on and all the neon lights were going through and everything, he had a six in his head. Like on the side of his head, there was a six that was glowing.
I didn't see that.
Mm-hmm. Arcade pointed it out. I had to
Oh,
play it back a little bit, but he had a six in his hair.
okay. I'll have to go back
So
and
I'm assuming that's what they're leading to.
so it is a wide six story.
And you notice with all the people added up, there's six of them.
And I gotta be honest with you, like a lot of anime shows, not to be a nerd right now, but I don't really care for the epilogue. I don't really care for the beginning part of the book or the
Yeah.
series. I very much more care for when we get to what the show is about.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the road that we're going on, then I'll stick to what I said about the Bray Wyatt story thus far, which is as long as when this whole thing is done and we're introduced and everything,
Yeah.
we can do some stuff that actually works that isn't
Mm-hmm.
so freaking bizarre. I'm here for it. You know, if we got to deal with this Craptomania and then we're gonna have a regular concept Bray Wyatt where we know what he does every week and he can just go out and win some freaking matches, I'm totally cool with that. Because we've
Yeah.
had a Raw 30 moment where he was officially passed the torch. So now I'm like, you got a lot of pressure on you to be that guy. So let's just kind of, play it safe for a while. I'd very much appreciate that. So that's where I'm at on Bray Wyatt. And
Mm-hmm.
Alexa Bliss and Bianca Belair. Because I think this ends. I think Alexa's going to get into her own thing. And I think Bianca is going to be the target of the women's Royal Rumble winner, which I guess would be a good transition into the women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I agree. Um, so I guess we're just shooting from the hip and giving our thoughts on this.
Yeah, yeah.
God bless this year's women's Royal Rumble. And you're gonna laugh at me because you might not agree with me, but this was the best Royal Rumble ever. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But it was the best women's Rumble that they've put together. From just from a standpoint of it was the neatest. It went relatively the smoothest up until the end. We'll talk about that. And then they did okay with their call ups. I like some of the people they brought up. I popped for Roxanne because I was like, wait, this is the first wrestler of the pod that's been in a Royal Rumble match ever. Because Roxy was a wrestler of the pod.
Roxy was a wrestler of the pod.
So technically, this is the first wrestler of the pod to ever be in a Royal Rumble.
You could be right. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah.
So that was a big moment for me. I popped for that. Um, I like Liv and Rhea being the Iron Women of the match and setting the new Rumble record. Now they both co-hold that record for the women.
Mm.
And then the Michelle McCool return coming from the crowd was pretty cool. I like that. Just taking her jacket off. Hey kids, here, hold my jacket. Mommy got to go to work. Japan Asuka, I love that. I'm not gonna lie, that kind of I'm gonna keep it PG. That surprised me. I enjoyed it. So I really didn't have the only two problems I had was Chelsea Green coming in and then getting eliminated in like 3 seconds, setting another record, by the way. Um, and then them botching the number 30. And to be honest, I really wasn't even thrilled about the number 30. But that's just me.
All right. So I don't agree with you that it. All right. I disagree and I agree. And we talked about this. I agree that it was the best women's rumble in the way that technically it was the best women's rumble.
Mm-hmm.
It went the smoothest, it was the cleanest. Stylistically, like as a match
Mm-hmm.
itself, this was the best women's rumble. I can't quite agree that I was as excited or had as much fun watching this rumble as any of the other ones. I probably had less fun watching this rumble than all of the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
So for that reason, I can't quite agree with you. I feel like a perfect rumble has enough surprises for you to pop and goes smoothly enough to feel like a good match as well. That's
Mm-hmm.
just me. But I will have to agree that it is the cleanest rumble. Therefore, it is the best women's rumble match ever thus far. I appreciate that they had surprises, even though they kind of had to. Their surprises weren't amazing.
They
I was
were.
expecting Mickey James to come back. I was just expecting more.
Mm-hmm.
And which became the story thread of the night is just I just expected more. I expected a little bit more surprises. We had went up in this thinking, all right, we got 18 surprises, and yet somehow I feel like only 3 surprises really happened.
Yeah.
And I didn't much care for any of them. Um, Great for Roxanne. That was a gimme.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't even know if I want to say great for Chelsea. I'm kind of
No.
hoping this is a one-off for her because that was kind of corny. But I
Yeah.
mean, if she's coming back to be funny, I guess that's cool. I hope you don't end up as Emma. Whatever. I mean, I just not high expectations. Um, Piper Niven is the highlight of
Yes.
the women's rumble for
Yes.
me. Piper Niven is back. Is Piper Niven. I kind of called Natty coming back. I kind of felt Tamina was gonna come back. I even had an inkling that Nia Jax might be there, but Piper Niven is back as Piper Niven, and even though I kind of knew this was, even though I had a feeling that she might get her name back, I wasn't 100% that she was coming back at the Rumble. So
Mm-hmm.
the fact that Piper Niven is back and she's Piper Niven, no more Dewdrop, it is gone, it is
Yes.
dead, and she is back in there as a force, beating chicks up. I'm so here for it. Thank goodness Piper Niven and Nikki Cross are back to being who they are.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Natty, you're back. Cool. Tamina's back. Yes. Amazing. Great. She had her time with the new house. She's back.
I
Nia.
I, I gotta
Nia.
I gotta cut you off for just 1 second because this is gonna surprise you. I was happy to see Natty come back. And I'm never you know me, I don't like Natty. I'm not a Natty fan. Not gonna lie. I don't know, maybe it was the outfit, maybe it was I don't know what it was, but I heard her music hit. I seen her come out. I was like, oh, Natty's back? Okay. I like this. Don't know why, but I was just happy to see Natty back. That's all. You can continue.
Hopefully, Natty is in a gold dust era. That's all I'm going to say about that. My hope for her is that she's reaching a gold dust level.
Mm-hmm.
Because, we say gold dust age like fine wine. They did mess up Nia. They botched Nia big. So bad the way they botched Nia. But still happy she was there. I saw that she took down one of her things, so I knew she was probably coming back. But great, she was number 30. Good surprise in straight bloodline attire, so you know where she's going. And at that moment, I realized, oh, they can take this another year. they can take this another year. You know what's so crazy about the bloodline, and we'll get into this later, is how easy it is for people that watch or have been watching the bloodline this far. It's so easy for us to be like, oh, you can get another 3 months out of this.
Yeah.
Because they're so good with everything that any new little thing you could take that 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the storytelling is so subtle and so great. So I saw Nia Jax come back and I was like, okay, cool. Nia's back. We got a few big girls in there that can really go. Piper, Tamina, Nia, Rhea, Raquel. Awesome what's happening to the depth of the roster.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also thought, oh, if she goes to the bloodline, they could take this another year. I could see it already.
Please no.
Man, we see a totally different eye to eye. We don't see eye to eye on certain girls. But
yeah,
I saw Nia. I mean, and preferably I would take Tamina first, but you know what it is.
yes.
Nia came back and I was like, that's great for Nia. She had a good showing. She mixed it up with some big girls. She's not the only big girl there no more. And I appreciate that because I think Piper Niven can go when you give her the chance. I always thought Tamina had it when you gave her the chance, and she just never got her big break.
Mm-hmm.
Nia, say what you will, she's a former women's champion, and she's the biggest Samoan woman they've had in years as far as importance. And so I was very happy with that coming out of the women's rumble. All right, now where was I going with this? They botched Nia's thing. That was terrible. The right
Mm-hmm.
woman won the rumble.
Yes.
Let's agree on that.
Yes.
Rhea absolutely should have won. Absolutely should have won. We were going into it saying she's the only liable choice. And I said the whole night, and I said, up until Asuka came out, I said the whole night, and I said it on the pod before, the only three possible winners were Rhea, Liv Morgan, and Raquel Gonzalez.
Yes.
And up until Asuka came, the only three women surviving was Raquel, Rhea, and Liv Morgan.
Yes.
Up until I saw Asuka, and then I was like, "Oh, is that Japan Asuka? Is that Dark Asuka? Is that Evil Asuka?" And then I saw her take off the mask, and I was like, "Oh, it just switched. It's between Rhea and Asuka now." Because I see you saw that pop. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
I was like,
this
oh,
is
this is gonna
good.
get me question things right
This
now.
is good. This is good." So then the three became Liv, Rhea, or Asuka. Perfectly fine. Raquel Gonzalez was my third pick out of them three. So for her to
Here's
get replaced by a game Asuka, totally fine. I
here's a
made
little
that sub
nugget.
on the spot. I called that.
Here's a little nugget for D the Toy Hunter about crazy Oscar returning. I will neither confirm nor deny the thoughts that I was thinking when she came out with the blue face paint. Leave it there.
She looked good, man. She looked like she could have been a Joker sidekick.
Yeah.
Um, I dug it. I dug it. And the all black, the first time seeing Oscar in black, that's how I knew before she took the mask off, she was evil. Because I saw the
Mm-hmm.
black attire and I was like, she always wears colors. This is evil.
Mm-hmm.
This is evil Oscar. And
Something
I
different.
dug it. I dug it right away. You can take that to Mania this year. Like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? I don't care if this her and Charlotte again this year. If you do that, Oscar, I am game. Um,
But you know what?
that being said,
We'll discuss Mania
Rhea,
later.
Rhea definitely should have won.
Yes.
And Rhea definitely did win. And I love the way that she won. I love that
Yeah.
Oscar's missed winning to live, and it still almost was close at the end there.
Yeah.
But Rhea pulled it off. Rhea did it, and she was supposed to do it. She was the shoe in the win. She was the only possible person that could have won.
And like we said before, Rhea was the obvious choice.
Obvious.
But if there was going to be alternates, the only two alternates were Raquel and Liv.
Yes.
And it came down to the person we had winning and the alternate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it for a second there, it was like, oh shit, it might
They
actually
might
happen.
they might let the other one win it, but they
Yeah.
made the right choice in the end.
But it was good that for a second it was like, oh shit, wait, hold wait, are they not gonna let her win? Like,
I do love suspending my belief.
yes, and they did it the
Suspending
right
my
way.
disbelief. I do love suspending my disbelief. So the
And I
fact
like
that for a moment they could make me question, I enjoy that. I need
and
that
I
every
like
time.
that they both set the record. They're now co-holding the record for longest time in a Rumble match. One
I
hour, what is it? 1 hour, 1 minute, and 3 seconds.
mm, I love that for them. I love everybody they chose to be the Iron Man and Iron Woman in these matches. I think
Yeah.
Rhea and Liv were a great choice. I think Liv needed it because it was an integral part of her character in the last building of the year for
Mm-hmm.
her to have a very good showing in the Rumble and look very strong. It was very important for her. I think it was very important for Rhea, and I think it was very important for Walter and Sheamus and Drew.
Yeah.
The way
Walter Walter was the
the
surprise.
way the three of them raged through the entire Rumble, but Walter especially, because and again, these are one of these things. Again, I say it's predictable.
Mm-hmm.
The moment I saw Walter was number one, I was like, oh, he's Iron Man.
Yeah.
I knew it as soon as they said it was Walter. He's gonna last the entire Rumble
I'm gonna have to double check.
because
He might have
Walter is Walter. He now holds the longest record for the 30-man men's. They
he
specified
does.
30. The 30-man women's. I think he went an hour and 11 minutes.
I was gonna say I'm gonna have to double check because
Yeah,
he went the whole
yeah.
damn time.
And
And that was
I
over an
knew as
hour.
soon as he came out because nobody's just taking Walter out.
Mm-hmm.
Walter's gonna look strong
Yeah.
all night. This guy's modern day Andre. He's looking
Yeah.
strong all night. Um, okay, before we wrap it up to the main event, highlights from both Rumbles. Do you appreciate that they solidified Bobby versus Brock? I thought, yes, it was predictable, but at least we've solidified that this is what we're doing. Sometimes I like
Yes.
that little predictability. That
Yes.
okay, we know where that's going.
I like that they solidified that that's going to be all but they all but said that that's going to be the match at Mania. So yeah, I like that they solidified that more for us.
Yeah. You said it before, amazing Ricochet and Logan Paul spot.
Yes, and I want to say I think I know what Logan's match at Mania is going to be.
What is it?
Might come to the dismay of some of the listeners. I'm honestly thinking Mania is going to be Logan Paul versus Seth Rollins.
Logan and Seth?
Yeah,
I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
because I
I
know
think that would be
some.
amazing.
I think some of our listeners are still on the fence about Logan. I honestly think WrestleMania is going to be Seth and Logan.
Well, I'll tell you this: if you're on the fence about Logan Paul, you have every right to be. You know, one thing about them Paul brothers, though, I say it every time, they're gonna do a sport. They're gonna do the hell out of it.
They're
It
gonna do the hell out of a
like
sport.
hate him or love him, they're gonna do the hell out of a sport.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, oh, he is good.
He is.
Oh man. But I think because of the pure hatred for Logan Paul, Seth versus Paul would be amazing
Mm-hmm.
because Seth would be able to keep the same character and be a face. Very Triple H, of course, you know who his
Mm-hmm.
daddy is, against a game, young Logan Paul that is going to be a sponge and let Seth lead that match. And they are two big egos, and it'll feel really, really good. I don't want to
Yeah.
compare it to anything because I feel like that's giving too much credit to Logan Paul. But
Mm-hmm.
it has when two people that are good, that are egotistical, that know how to feed off a crowd really well and just kind of go with it, have a natural chemistry, it's magic in there every time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Seth leads the way. I think the promos would be amazing. I think Logan Paul versus Seth is a great Mania match. Um, and we'll get into the main event because I feel like after the main event, we can talk about Mania and then
Yeah.
we can wrap up.
So as far as the main event goes, I wasn't too thrilled about it. All right, so I wasn't too thrilled about the match itself. The match itself was a match we've seen before. We've seen numerous times. But did we need to make this match for the story of the bloodline? Yes, it needed to happen. So I was okay with it. But the match itself, I wasn't over the moon for it. And even when the match was going on, I was like, oh, man. They had a couple good spots, but for me, it was just another Roman Reigns match up until about the end of the match.
Well, you know what? I agree with you. And I'll tell you why I'm not mad about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad about it because you're right. It needed to be done for the story.
Mm-hmm.
There was a place they were taking this clearly. And because they kind of told you from the jump, he was going to wipe the floor with this man.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally accepted his challenge by saying, yeah, sure, whatever. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care about you.
Mm-hmm.
He let you know from the jump, if you were like really paying attention, he's not a threat to me at all. It's not about him being a threat. The Kevin Owens problem is not about Kevin Owens being an actual threat to Roman Reigns' championship.
Yes.
The KO problem was a problem for the structure of the bloodline and
Mm-hmm.
only for the structure of the bloodline. Kevin Owens was in no way a problem for the champ himself. This was about the principle of establishing whether Sammy was with us or against us. So the match itself is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Kevin went down like a sack of potatoes. But
No
I mean, at
question.
the end of the day, this is Roman Reigns.
Yes.
We are living in the era of literally the greatest of all time in the books.
Mm-hmm.
He is the greatest in the modern era. At
Mm-hmm.
least in the last 20 years, he qualifies as the greatest of all time. So, him wiping the floor with Kevin Owens was absolutely called for. I'm not mad.
Yes.
I'm not shocked. Duh. Roman wins. You know what I'm saying? That's going to happen. Now, the story of after is
Oh
all
man.
the importance of what everybody was here for.
Yes.
And they beat the hell out of Kevin. They beat the hell out of Kevin. Before we talk about Sammy, they beat the hell out of Kevin.
Justified.
I mean, so to break it down, Roman goes in, beats Kevin clean, right?
Yes. Yes. Clean.
Beats Kevin clean, and then proceeds to just start getting a whooping on him.
Mm-hmm.
First, he beats him clean by throwing him into the steel steps twice. Did not get
Mm-hmm.
disqualified for this because he's Roman Reigns. And they looked so bad. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't on the side of the steps. It
It
was
was on
on the steps.
yeah,
Like
the steps.
it was on the steps themselves. Threw him twice, and it looked like there's no easy way to take that.
Mm-hmm.
It just looked like it hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you can try and tuck your chin,
Mm-hmm.
make sure your back is first so you don't get whiplash. But I mean, ow,
Yeah.
you know. So he beats Kevin by slamming him into the steps twice. And Sami Zayn just looks a little horrified the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Beats him, then proceeds to just get the whooping on
Yeah.
him, And then the Uso, he gets, and he's got his arm around Sammy as the Usos are getting a whooping on him. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is for you, Sammy. This is, what I'm saying, this is proof. This is what we got to do. This is how you handle business. Blah 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 blah. Pulls out handcuffs Kevin to the ropes,
Mm-hmm.
and just have a super kick party
Yeah.
where Kevin Owens is the pinata,
Mm-hmm.
and they just get to whooping on this man. Super kick after 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 double super kick after super kick after double. It was ridiculous. And then they got a chair.
Mm-hmm.
And Sammy is sitting through this entire agony of Kevin Owens getting his behind whooped.
Yep.
Just kind of touching his face and touching his beard and wanting to jump in, but standing there, still not really knowing. And he keeps reaching his hand out when Roman got the chair. Kevin clearly unconscious. He's gone. He's out of it. He's not even here.
Yeah.
He didn't lost. Wasn't even a good fight. He just showed up to work today, getting destroyed. And Sammy's reaching his hand out, and you can read the room. I had maybe 5, 6 people in there, and we're all like, "Don't do it. Don't you do it, Sammy. You shut your mouth, Sammy. You stay back."
Mm-hmm.
Roman goes to put the chair up. There's Sammy. You don't need to do this. He's done. It's over. We've proven the point. He gets it. We don't need to go any further.
Mm-hmm.
Have mercy, my tribal chief. And Roman looks disrespected. And once you disrespect the king, the head of the table, the tribal
Mm-hmm.
chief, there's just nothing good to come after this. And like any soap opera you've watched your mom watch back in the day, you could tell what was coming next. He wiped his face and he said, "You know what?" Or any gang movie. This is very big in mob movies too,
Mm-hmm.
or street movies. Really, any code of ethics in a corrupt family. He goes, "You're right. I shouldn't do this. You should do it.
Mm-hmm.
This is your man. And as we know, street code, mafia code, whatever, if it's your best friend, you got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Goes to hand Sammy the chair. And Sammy's trying to get out of it. And Roman started getting angry. Starts mushing him in the face. So you better do this. You with us? This is it. This is your final test, Sammy. And it was like going back in time for me to a time with Roman's first family. And Roman just cannot turn his back on people with a chair.
That's just man.
Ah,
That dude's back is like a chair magnet.
he said, Seth Rollins, eat your heart out. And instead of hitting Kevin, bang, right on the back of Roman.
Mm-hmm.
And Roman's face was so shocked.
He took the cell the same way too.
Same way.
Mm-hmm. It
Same
was
way.
that
In that moment,
it was that freeze and fall.
Roman's whole life flashed before his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
He remembered wearing all black with the vest and the and the trunks. Just heartbroken. And then gang did what they had to do. Jimmy said it's on blood. Gotta
Mm-hmm.
take you out. Super kicks my man. And not to mention, Jimmy is like, no. Jimmy is snapping on Sammy. Because Sammy tries to talk first. Imagine this guy, first gang he's ever been in, trying to talk his way out.
No, that was
After he
Jay.
didn't after he didn't hit the guy. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about Sammy. Sammy put the chair down and try to say sorry.
Yeah, he tried to say
Way
sorry to
out of it.
Jay.
Yeah, to Jay, like this was his first time being in a gang or something. And they over there trying to talk it out. And Jimmy's like, talking.
Uh-huh.
That's blood. Nails him. Super kick.
Oh
Solo
man.
get the work. They get the whooping on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they supposed to do. And they look over at Jay. Jay's looking at Sammy. And he dips. Can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Folding under the pressure. Can't do his man like that.
Get that man an Oscar for best supporting actor.
Yo. Oh, the way he took my heart. The Tarantino twist.
Uh-huh.
This whole time, is it gonna be Rock? Is it gonna be Sammy? Is it gonna be God? It was Jay the whole time. And I said, this is prime storytelling, ladies and gentlemen. Prime story. Give me your thoughts, Duke, and I'm gonna wrap this whole thing up in a bow for us and kind of sum up how we got here.
So after all of this has gone down, we can only go, I personally believe, one of two ways. And technically, I don't even know how to get to the one of two ways, but I think at Mania, or no, let's start with Elimination Chamber. Elimination Chamber, I think it's going to be Sammy and Roman for one of the titles. So what's the title for SmackDown? The Universal title?
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be them two for the Universal title at the Chamber in Canada. Sammy's home country. He'll be on home soil. That white hot baby face is going to get a pop in his home country like no other. And I really honestly feel like either I think at some point we're gonna get a match like we had at Mania 21 where both the tag champions fought each other.
Oh, Jimmy versus Jay?
I think at some point we're getting Jimmy versus Jay.
Interesting.
Just at some point I feel like we're gonna get a Jimmy versus Jay.
Okay. At some
Unless
point.
they
Okay.
unless they book this where it could potentially go if Roman defends the title twice in one night or twice both nights at Mania, then we could have another option at Mania. But I think that definitely at the Chamber, it's going to be Sammy and Roman. The Jay thing, I got to see where that goes because that could go one of two ways for me.
We have totally different views on this. So give me your take on Jay and Sammy.
Well, I got to see where it goes first because I really don't know.
Okay. Okay.
I'm still like I don't know if he's gonna say fuck the bloodline and ride for Sammy because Sammy rode for him and their history. I don't know what it could be, but I do know is that on social media, Roman made a video. You're either in the bloodline
Or you're not.
or you're not.
Even Jacob 52, shout out to Jacob 52,
Mm-hmm.
reposted it on his. Says, sorry, Jay,
And
you out, blood.
and Jay has been quiet on social media except for one, technically two posts. One post that says I'm out with a blood drop, and then another post that has a picture of him looking back at Roman, and it just says run it back. So I don't know.
Well, I know. So allow me, your natural heel, to wrap this up for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Go ahead.
It's not Sammy. It's not Rock. It's Roman versus Rhodes, and it's Roman versus Jay. It is Roman versus Jay at Mania. This whole time, spoiler alert, Paul Heyman, Jay has been the one. Let me tell you how we got here. The common thread in every single person besides Paul Heyman that has been introduced to the bloodline, Jay and Jay alone has been the star that this whole thing revolves around. When Roman first came back, the first person he recruited was Jay against his will. Had one of what I still say to this day was rivalry of that year and one of the best rivalries of Roman Reigns' career. Absolutely, and still is the best rivalry of Jay's career,
Yes.
especially as an individual star.
Yes.
It established the potential Jay had. Literally, Jay became main event Jay Uso through this Roman Reigns story. The story that he was tired of being in his brother's shadow. He was tired of being just another Us. And that Roman always made himself the head of the family, the head of the pack.
Mm-hmm.
He was always putting them down and never even gave them the idea that they could do what he does. Until Jay stepped out of himself to give himself a real shot. And when Jay lost, not because Jay lost, but because Roman pulled on his heartstrings and put him in a position to tap out, not tap out in a physical sense, but
He quit
and
for the
he
family.
he quit, he sacrificed himself to Roman for the family, for the betterment of his brother, for the betterment of the family.
Mm-hmm.
He went in with Roman. and he became whatever Roman manipulated him into being.
Yes.
Because when his brother came back, his brother tried to talk sense into him, and it became a back and forth of where Jay is going to go. Yes, Jimmy is here now, but it's still about Jay.
Mm-hmm.
And they only become cohesive again when Jay decides for the family, they should all be on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sammy comes in, and Jay is the first skeptic, really the only skeptic. From the
Because.
jump, Jay has been down with him because he's not family. If this is about family and what is right for the family, which is the only reason I'm here, he shouldn't be here because he's not family. And then what did Sammy do this entire time? They're doing this back and forth every week with Sammy and Jay. Jay is still the most important person in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Roman is Roman, it's still about Jay and what Jay thinks. Jay is still the wild card of the group
Mm-hmm.
until Sammy comes in and does all the things family is supposed to do. Jay finally accepts him. And then when they turn their back on Jay because of somebody Sammy feels like is family, Jay is out.
Mm-hmm.
Jay can't do it because in that moment, Jay realizes what family is supposed to be and what it's not supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, Sammy betrayed him, but he betrayed him because Kevin is his family.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't right what Roman was about to do to him. And as his family, somebody Jay loved like a brother, he couldn't do that to Sammy. So he had to
Mm-hmm.
bow out because the bloodline was wrong to him from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I said it could go one of two ways for Jay
Yes.
at Mania. It could either be Jay versus Jimmy at Mania, or I didn't want to say it. It could be Roman versus Jay.
Well, I'm gonna jump out the window. It's Roman versus Jay, everybody. It's Roman versus Jay. Jay has been the biggest story in the entire bloodline. Roman has been champ for what, 3 years? They said
Just
800
about
something days.
close to 3 years.
800 something days. Roman's been champ for going into
By the
at
time he hits
three
Mania, I think it'll
or
be
at 3 years.
3 years.
Roman's been champ for about 3 years. But for the past 3 years, the most integral part of Roman's story is Jay.
Mm-hmm.
I predict that Jay is still the one to take him out. This whole arc has not been about Roman at all. It's been about Jay.
So are you saying right here? Excuse me, because I'm a little
Jay
sick.
is the man to beat Roman Reigns.
So
I'm
are you
saying it here.
January 30th, 2023? Are you saying come WrestleMania,
Main event,
Jey
Jay
Uso,
Uso,
Universal Champion,
Universal Champion.
or WWE Champion, depending on which title Cody
I
wins?
think I think Cody's gonna go for WWE.
Okay, so Universal Champion.
But I think either way, whatever one Cody doesn't go for, I think it's Jay.
Ooh.
I think it's Jay. They built the past 3 years on Roman and Jay. Really think about it, ladies and gentlemen. If you've been watching for the past 3 years, this story really has been about Jay Uso. So
So
the only person that's developed more character in these 3 years is Jay.
mm-hmm,
Because Sammy came in just being Sammy.
mm-hmm.
We all know Sammy had the potential to be this funny, but we didn't know he had the potential to be this big. But Jay has had the most character change from start to finish. And this is full circle we get into now. And I know Jay can do it because I've been watching. He been main event Jay Uso since year one of this. He's always had it in him, but he's never got the fair shake because the one time he went up against Roman and they could really do it, he suckered Jimmy in and choked him out so that Jay had to give it up. They never got to really do it one-on-one, and Jay has improved so much that I can take him serious. I can see him doing it. I
Not for
don't think
nothing.
it's Sammy. I think the way they left Sammy and Kevin in that ring is going to be sitting, and this is crazy predictions again. It's going to be Sammy and Kevin versus Jimmy and Solo for the tag team gold at Mania. It's going to be
Mm-hmm.
Solo and Jimmy because they
Mm-hmm.
stayed. Freebird rules, that's still his brother.
Yes.
It's going to be Solo and Jimmy versus Sammy and Kevin. And if you think that's a step down, it's not, because Sami Zayn is a main event player.
Yes.
And all four of them have been main event players for the last 3 months. So it's going to be a big marquee match. It's going to be them for all the tag gold or one of the tag gold.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be those two at Mania. It's going to be Jay versus Roman, Cody versus Roman. And in a perfect world, I can lay the rest of this card, but we're staying on the bloodline. But
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm predicting for Mania. The real person we need to pay attention to is Jay. Jay is the guy.
So, because we know Bloodline are notorious for having the Bloodline interferences and being a part of the matches and whatnot, Roman versus Jay, he'll have Solo, he'll have Jimmy, Roman will have his people. Do you think Jay swindles in Sammy and Kevin to help
Well,
him as backup? Because Sammy's going to help him. Sammy will help him.
okay, see.
Do you think it's not going to?
Ooh,
I don't think it could be Kevin helping Jay.
yes,
I think it'll be Kevin
Sammy.
helping Sammy.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's
Or
okay. Here's
maybe it could be Kevin helping Jay because maybe now he realized Jay's off the Kool-Aid.
see. Here's my thing. All right, I'm crazy, you guys, because I threw this out there, and I'm crazy enough to believe in it. I believe that if Sammy and Kevin don't help Jay, Jay is gonna go one-on-one with Roman Reigns, and he's gonna beat Roman 1, 2, 3, middle of the ring.
On his own.
But I think it'll be with a little bit of help from the bloodline. Who in particular? The Rock.
Okay. I'm not gonna say what I just mouthed, but okay.
I think there's a possibility that they might do us how they did us with John Cena and The Rock.
Yeah.
And because The Rock is not ready this year, they'll give us Rock versus Roman next year. But we get to wrap up the entire bloodline story with Jay being the one to beat Roman in a moment where The Rock comes in and lays Roman out, and Jay is able to take the victory.
Mm-hmm.
I threw that out there last night, and yes, it sounds crazy, but think about it. They did the same thing with John versus The Miz that year.
Mm-hmm.
Rock only hosted Mania to build to that next Mania with him and Cena.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy for them to have The Rock do the run in at Mania, cost Roman the belt. We get to see underdog Jey Uso win without Roman seeming like he's on the same level as Jay. Yes, Jay will look like a main eventer, but Roman will still look like an unstoppable force whose only real enemy or only real person that could be on his level is a superstar the quality of The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't go down in value if The Rock is the reason he loses. I think he beats Cody night one and loses to Jay via The Rock. Just me. That's
I
my
could see it.
predictions.
I could see it.
My that's my wild fantasy booking
I could see it.
because I could see it.
Because I mean,
It's just crazy enough
Cody
to
can
work.
win the WWE title any other time.
Any other time, he's
He
still
don't.
Cody Rhodes,
He doesn't need WrestleMania to make it a moment.
and it's better for his story if he don't win right away.
Yeah, I could see it.
It's just crazy enough to work. All right, but with that said, I think it's time to wrap it up. We somehow got an hour out of this, even though we
Somehow.
thought it was going to be a half hour. So
All right. So
let's wrap it up.
before we wrap it up, do we want to give the 1 through 10 grades on the matches?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right. So men's Royal Rumble 1 through 10. Where you at on it?
Ooh, 7.
For the men's Rumble?
Generous. A generous 7.
Okay. I
There
was
wasn't
going.
a lot of there wasn't a lot of botches. It was good as a match, but it wasn't what a Rumble match should have been.
Okay.
So I guess as a letter grade, I would give it a C minus. But
Okay. Okay. We'll do
as a
the.
C minus in percentages, you get a
All right.
70. You get a 70 from me.
All right.
A
So
7.
all right. Let's do the letter grading system then. Okay. C
Letter
minus for
grade,
me too.
C
C
minus.
minus.
It was garbage. You could have done so much better.
All right. So
It's a C minus, and in the circle, I'm writing. I know you can do better than this. See me after class. This is bad.
yes. All right. So I'll go next on the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. A D. Not a
D,
D plus, not a D minus. I'm going D.
solid D, solid D. Again, I know you can do better. See me after class.
Mm-hmm.
This is trash. This is trash. I'm
All right.
giving you it, and it's one of those where you might be mad at me as a teacher because somebody might have actually wrote a D paper, and I gave them a D, and your paper was definitely better than their paper, but I gave you a D. So you might
Yeah.
have to see me after class to ask why I gave it to you, and I'm gonna tell you just because I know you could do better.
Mm-hmm.
I know you had better than this, so I gave you a D.
Got it.
Boom.
All right. So next one is Bliss and Bianca. What's your grade for it?
C minus. That's
Really?
being super generous,
I
because you
would. I
didn't
would.
have the time to make it a good match. I'm gonna pass you, but that's it. Because I feel like if you had gotten 15 minutes, it might have been better than this. But because they gave you a really short time, you did what you could, and then
I'm
you
going.
went right into the Wyatt story. So
I'm
I'm
going
C minus. It's
D plus.
passing.
It's D
D
plus for
plus.
me. D plus. Better than the Pitch Black match, but could have been better. Could have had more time. D
Could
plus.
have more time.
So next we have the Women's Royal Rumble. I'm giving it a B. It's not
Solid B.
maybe a B, yeah, maybe B minus. I'll stick with the B. It was good, the best one they've had as far as smoothness went. Couple botches, but B and in the circle could have been better. I know you. I know you can get an A.
Mm-hmm. Try harder next time.
Try harder next time. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, solid B. Solid B. It was, it followed the curriculum, but it wasn't spectacular.
Yeah.
There was room for improvement here.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you didn't suck, but
Mm-hmm.
there was so much more we could have done. But you did what you were supposed to do. Can't give you nothing but a B for that.
Mm-hmm. All right. So for the main event, Sammy versus or not Sammy, Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns. What's your grade?
Um, I'm giving it an A because it did what it was supposed to do.
All right. So
I could give it below that. I'm not judging the match itself. I'm judging it as a whole segment. As the whole segment, I gotta give it an A because it did what it was supposed to do.
all right. So I'm giving it a C plus.
A C plus? Are you
But
serious?
listen.
Good.
I'm giving it a C plus but the extra credit at the end, they did extra credit. I'll give it a B plus.
Okay. Okay.
I'll give it a B plus. The end was good. You got all the extra credit correct. Before that, you had a C, but with all the extra credit you did, you're getting a B plus, maybe an
Okay.
A minus.
I can get with that. I can
Actually,
get with
A.
that.
I'll give it. I'll be generous and give it the A minus.
Okay.
So C plus grade on the test. The extra credit gives you an A minus.
I mean, they did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
At least at one point, and yes, I was maybe a little under the influence because it's Royal Rumble, but I know there was a lot of people looking around, grabbing other people. What's gonna happen? Sorry, you can ask for.
Yeah. But guys, that is the Royal Rumble rundown. As always, you guys know you can find us on all of our social platforms, be it Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, dangerousjobberswebsite.com. Anywhere you can listen to a podcast, you can link into us over there. Thank you for tuning in to our 2023 Royal Rumble rundown. Make sure you guys stay up. Make sure you guys stay blessed. And as always, stay
Stay
dangerous.
dangerous.